right, guys, welcome to Culture Core Academy. I'm Ping, this is Caleb, and we are about to get into this Loki finale.
Boy,
mercy.
boy. Oh my God! Look, we have got to get into it. You see me? I'm prepared. I done wore the Loki green. It's the season finale, man.
I'm out of costume. I'm out of uniform.
Well, no judgment. But I'm just saying, look, something had to be done because too much stuff went down.
Too much. So much. So much. Whew. It's really hard for us to convey how crazy this finale was.
It's safe to say that there's never been a Marvel TV show that really went as hard as this season finale went. And that's not remotely cap. If you've seen this episode, tell me that that's cap. Please explain.
Have you seen any of the other TV shows? Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, Netflix
all
stuff.
that.
It ain't hit like this one, man.
It ain't hit like this. And look,
that boy Loki wasn't going, dude.
Right, Loki was not going. And look, some of the other stuff had great stuff, but so much went down in this episode. I have to really give a shout out to Marvel because that little opening cinematic thing that they did, I thought that was super doping.
They changed it up on us. It wasn't, but it still went to the Loki green at the end when they revealed the full Marvel Studios logo. But it was a dope, just compilation of old school Marvel quotes from everything up until now. It's dope. I think it might be setting up some stuff too, dude. You know?
I feel like that's definitely a scene that might get analyzed and overanalyzed here in the weeks and months to come as we try to figure out all of what we just saw go down, for sure. After we see that nice opening, we got the two Lokis entering the Citadel, and who is there to greet them? None other than one of Ping's favorites. It was Miss Minutes.
Which brings up the question
we know
immediately.
you love Miss Minutes.
See, I know she's been lying the whole time. I've been telling y'all she's been lying. She'll lie to your face. I don't care if she's a computer program or not. She know how to lie. Of her own free will.
You have disliked her from the beginning.
And she is not talking about how she over here lying in their face, talking about she's going to send them back to, timeline with the way they want it to. You know, the whole, I can make you ruler of Asgard.
Asgard. You can beat the Avengers.
Yeah, you can beat the Avengers.
Wouldn't that be nice? She really did. She came at him with the cipher deal, the blue pill me. Yeah. I want my steak and wine.
See, I taste the steak and it's juicy.
Yeah, that's basically what they were being offered. They decided to not take it. And they're ready to square up. The elevator dings.
How is she outside of the TVA?
Houseway.
Hey, no.
She just appeared there.
At least we all thought that she only just existed in the TVA, like she was like some like TVA, centered program.
And can she be like a bit omniscient? Is she an entity where she can only appear one place at one time, or can she be in multiple places at once? Like, are there recordings of her appearing in some places at once, or is like this sentient minutes popping in between places?
She's just freakishly fast somehow. Like, there's a whole lot of questions there.
I really don't like how she popped up. I would start swinging.
This thing, I don't even know if it would work. She's probably like holographic or something. I don't know. But look, somebody ought to try, I guess, here soon. So they go through all that. They turn down the offer. The elevator dings.
Mm-hmm.
And
immediately.
Like, yo.
We thought we were going to see another Loki variant. We thought we were going to see... We didn't think we were going to see what we were going to see. We didn't think they were going to drop it on us this hot.
He's here. Jonathan Majors. Majors in the building.
Dude. Acting a fool as quote-unquote He Who Remains, which Miss Minutes a few minutes ago had actually name-dropped He Who Remains. But we still didn't think it would be him.
We weren't, honestly, even at that point, I was still thinking like, okay, are we getting the actual weird, like, celestial He Who Remains from the comics?
I thought it might have been like Richard E. Grant, classic Loki.
But no, it is Jonathan Majors, the same exact guy who we already know is cast as being Kang the Conqueror in Quantumania. So it's important for us to point out, yes, it's Majors, and yes, it's Kang, kind of, but also kind of not.
No, it's more of an Immortus, He Who Remains crossover thing, sort of like what they did with Sylvie and Lady Loki.
Yeah. So, and this is for all of those who maybe haven't had the time to get around to reading the comics and getting deep off into all the Kang the Conqueror lore. Basically, Kang the Conqueror himself was a super, super smart being that basically discovered multiple universes and whatnot, and then discovered himself in these multiple universes. And, he's kind of like a conqueror of empires in time. Mm-hmm. He does that in Marvel Universe through those various iterations, like we were just mentioning, be it Immortus, be it Kang, or be it, like Rama Tut, his more
Rich. We saw Easter eggs for Rama Tut and Nathaniel Richards in Loki episode 5 last week. We saw the Sphinx with the nose still on it.
Yep.
And we saw King Tower, which used to be Stark Tower. But it's King Towers now. It used to be Avengers Tower, but he bought it, which is Nathaniel Richards, which is Kang. It's crazy, dude.
Whole lot to be said there. And it's just, I know we've talked about it before, potentially, like if we're going to see him here. And I thought we both kind of were in agreement with that. We thought at best we were going to get maybe some sort of end of the episode post-credit teaser. A nod.
Not even in the flesh.
Right. Maybe, potentially just like his voice, know. But he was there in the flesh, and it wasn't just for like a moment.
That's the whole episode.
We're going to continue to talk about this, but in reality, the majority of the rest of the episode takes place between those three individuals. The Lokis and He Who Remains / Kang / everything. I really loved the fact that, they tried to be on task, and as soon as they were in the elevator with that dude, they tried to jump him,
which didn't work because it
didn't work.
Time warping away from them. The same technique, they would use on the Lokis when they would try to attack them. He was using it himself.
Yep,
but
in a much more predictive, plotted out manner.
Yeah,
which is part of his character that we will get to later.
He has his head wrapped around this tech way more than they do.
Far more, but as we will kind of come to find out, from the 31st century, he has a lot of time and technology in his hands to be ahead of the game.
And we start to see a few Easter eggs for stuff like Council of Kang, because that was when they would discover that there's multiple universes stacked on top of each other, and they all discovered this from different versions of themselves at the same time, somehow along the same timeline.
Yep.
And we're sharing tech knowledge, and I guess this creates the Council of Kang, but then we had the Kang War because the peace went away.
Not all the Kangs are good. And this right here is the very story, the particular Kang variant that our Lokis are dealing with is explaining. He brings them there to explain the whole situation and as to why the TVA is needed. And it's, as he puts it, he had to create the TVA and all of this to keep the multiversal war at bay. Or depending on how we're looking at time and understanding it now, maybe to prevent another multiversal war from happening,
or to disrupt the cycle of it happening over and over again.
Yes, and so as he begins to lay it out for the Lokis, as far as like who he is and his methods and how things are working, it takes on much more of an evil necessity, if you will.
Yeah,
that even Kang himself is kind of aware isn't necessarily the best.
He admits his flaws by saying he knows everything up to a certain point. And it was this point, and he didn't know the choice they were going to make. Which is crazy because it's sort of his goal to experience that. You can see it. You can see the excitement in his eyes when he is left with, in essence, a choice, which he seems to have never had or hasn't had for eons.
Right. Something he has long forgotten what it feels like.
Yeah. I guess that's how he becomes He Who Remains. It's not really like the comic book He Who Remains.
Still
He's
being,
the one
exactly,
who
yeah.
remains out of all the Kangs and during the Kang War, which I guess makes him Immortus and He Who Remains at the same time.
Yeah, I mean that. Hey, this is the MCU, and the MCU, He Who Remains is just doesn't not mean the same thing as it does in the comics.
Yeah.
That pretty much is what it is. What Kang's there, and as he's talking to him, he basically, after explaining the situation, he tries to offer the two Lokis the job. Like he's like, "Yo, bro, I brought you here. In actuality, I plotted all of this out. Like you've all just been playing into my plans, so I could ask you if you take over this job for me."
And they're like, what?
Which, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty understandable. That didn't go over well at all.
That didn't go over well. Let's sidestep for a minute because we need to go back to Mobius v. Renslayer.
Have to.
So before we get into what really happened, let's just go ahead and preface with he got kicked in his chest.
Yo, he came in with the prune baton, like he was really about to do something.
Yes.
Like he really was, and then he promptly got thrown down.
Yes.
Swiftly, definitively.
Put in his diaphragm real bad.
So once again, I think we just all have to come to terms with we got a whole hell of a lot of questions coming out of this season. And sometimes we got more questions than answers. But the one thing that has been answered is no, the TVA does not have hands.
No, absolutely not. No hands.
Renslayer do apparently she ain't teach nobody else.
Greedy.
Because she made it look easy.
Yeah, she really did. Like she knew what she was doing.
She just chooses to spare Mobius because she's got a quest of her own.
And she sure is one to just like put some agents out in front of her and then go somewhere.
She'll big time you. We see her choose to not prune Mobius a second time before she dips out and slips into the who knows where in time. One would assume that it might be connected to that file that we see Miss Minute give her in earlier in the episode.
She said she's going in search of free will.
What Miss Minute says when she drops off the file, that he thinks that this will be better for her.
Being He Who Remains.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see, and even more interesting, I guess, to theorize where exactly is Renslayer going.
Yeah, because that brings up another question. When they found who Renslayer is a variant of, how did Hunter B-15 know where to lure the other TVA agents?
How, Sway?
How did she know to go to Franklin D. Roosevelt High School in the year 2018, which is a significant year in the MCU because that's the year of Infinity War?
I mean, it's a super solid question. That man, I guess I can't even take a stab at answering. We don't know, and they probably ain't gonna tell us.
And so we get to close to the end of the episode. This episode was insane. But rounding near the end of the episode, because there's still so many theories and questions to ask that need answers promptly. But near the end of the episode, we see that the Lokis are faced with a choice: take the job that He Who Remains is offering them, or kill him and unleash all the different versions of him and let the timeline branch out into some crazy Yggdrasil looking.
Yeah, Yggdrasil looking, Kang populated, chaotic world, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, the whole situation here was benevolent, more open, easygoing Kang. Again, telling them that they had to make a choice, but neither one of the choices were necessarily choices you would want to make.
Yeah. And so Sylvie's hot-headed ass decides she's going to make the choice. Because we got to remember, Sylvie's about this life the whole time. This is Sylvia's existence.
Focus.
She's trying to kill, she didn't know the timekeepers were fake when she threw the sword and decapitated the middle one. She didn't know.
Hey, what you said? She really did not, but she showed threw it hard at him.
Mm-hmm. We get the moment where the Lokis kiss and they show true expressions of self-love. And then she tricks him and throws him into a time portal. And he's back at the TVA. And she kills He Who Remains, and she's crying when she does it because she realized she might have made a bad choice.
Man, Loki's be Lokiing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can really say about that. She really still dusted old boy, our boy.
Mm-hmm. And so then
Cut him deep.
we get to Loki in the TVA where he's back at, and he finds Mobius in B-15, and they're talking. Because remember, we didn't see Mobius and B-15 together.
Nope.
At first, now that I think about it. He finds Mobius in B-15, and he's trying to tell them about He Who Remains, and he tells them, like, literally tells them that he's terrifying. He sees all, he knows all. He says at the end of the time, they look and ask Loki who he is because they don't recognize Loki. Neither one of them do. And then we pan to a singular statue, not a statue of the Timekeepers, but a singular statue of Kang the Conqueror himself.
Yup. We all seen it there clear as day. Whatever timeline that Loki is in right now, it is one where Kang is in full effect.
Yeah. So, questions. First of all, what's going to become of Sylvie and Loki? These are the main characters, so like what's the deal with them?
I mean, they're split up apart again. Where was Sylvie sending Loki? Did she know? Did she know
she was doing that?
Was that a planned thing? We don't know the answer to that. And then also, we have to wonder, now that Sylvie has killed this Kang, what does she do after?
Yeah, where's she gonna go? What about the main timeline, Mobius and Hunter B-15? Like, what if when Sylvie leaves the Citadel? Does she go back to the Void, or does she go back to... Because did she have a freaking... How did she do that? Did she have a TemPad?
I guess that's the only thing I can assume. I mean, what...
And so, new questions. How is this spilling over into No Way Home? Because we've got multiversity confirmed in that movie. And even more so, Multiverse of Madness.
Well, I think that what's really key for us is that you see at the end, this Kang talks about the threshold has been passed, and then after you see him get killed, you see the timeline in the background just begin to sprawl even more.
Is that going to be more? Is that timeline the whole new MCU?
So that's my thing. When you look at it that way, all the other things that we as fans have been thinking about and wanting, the X-Men, all the variations of Spider-Man, all of that is so much more possible now. In just this one episode, they made all of that like a possibility.
Yes.
The potential Secret Wars.
How crazy is it that they did that on streaming, and let alone dropping a big villain like Kang the Conqueror on a streaming show?
It really was incredible.
You never thought they were going to do that.
I've never seen them go so hard on a TV show.
Man.
Just dropping the bombshells. We just saw Black Widow. Black Widow wasn't dropping bombs like that.
No.
Not even close.
Black Widow went. It did not go hard, but it did go.
Right. It did go. But like the level of significance in the reveal and everything from this episode is going to be remembered for a long time, and dare say it's going to be very hard for Marvel to top something like this in a TV show again.
So I think we're going to get like our main MCU. I think we're going to get versions of mutants in that. With this episode, now we can get like any version of any Marvel anything.
Yeah, it's all right here, and I mean I'm all for it. This is going to be super exciting. You're going to definitely wonder how does this affect No Way Home. Hey, still waiting on that trailer, but
yes.
it is what it is. Definitely, you got to think that Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness will play a part, and we already know definitively that Ant-Man Quantumania is going to play a role. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we get from where we are now to Quantumania, like what all was going to go down in that time frame.
Yep. Well, I guess that rounds out, the end of this Loki finale recap. We're going to have probably some more theory crafting because we got to get into the what ifs. We got to get into
so much now. Jesus Lord.
As these other movies begin to, inch closer, we have more time to sit here and think about what the implications might be and where we think things might be headed. I think we're going to need to do that for a little bit, because as bad as we want it, as much as we'd all probably love to see Loki season 2 by the end of the year, I'm thinking it's probably going to be like fall of next year.
Fall 2022.
Yeah, fall of next year. I definitely think it'll be out before Ant-Man Quantumania, but it's not going to be out probably as quick as we'd like.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, y'all stay tuned, because we'll have all the content.
Yep, we got to stay educating the people, talking to the people, and we're giving you all of our various facts and opinions, and we're gonna keep doing that, even with Loki wrapping up here now.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you have any thoughts, feelings, super crucial theories or Easter eggs we might have missed, holler at us in all of our socials and our comments. We do be responding. We love to talk with y'all. So,
yes, we do.
With that, from everybody here at the Academy, it's Caleb. That's Ping. And the Academy has now wrapped up another seasonal session. Peace out.